Believe it or not, there are many beauty trends in 2025 that we will look back on with pure embarrassment. Now, some of these trends are very quick changes that you can just stop doing or make a small change. Some of them are permanent decisions that you may live to regret. My goal with this video is to help you avoid these pitfalls so that you can look back at your photos in 10 to 20 to 30 years with pride. Let's get into the video. Number 1, extreme nose contouring. With the influencer society and with these AI images, there is definitely a very high beauty standard which many people feel that they have to adhere to. Now, because not everyone can afford plastic surgery or wants to do it, they instead are contouring the absolute life out of their nose, and it's very visible. It only looks good in photos, and trust me, it doesn't actually look good. For many people, it looks like they have a railroad down the middle of their nose. There's nothing natural about it. I don't even think it photographs very well. I really do think that we should celebrate our natural noses as much as possible and not try to make something that they're not. Now, if you want to do a nose contour, you absolutely can. It just should be so subtle that you can't see it in photos. Victoria Beckham actually has a makeup product that does this. I highly recommend looking this up. She also has done a video on how she does her own nose contour. Not against a nose contour, just make sure that it's not obvious. 2, really obvious fake eyelashes. Now, I do love a very natural looking eyelash extension, but I do think that some of the Russian and high volume lash extensions have gotten out of control. Now, one thing about them is they're incredibly expensive to keep up, and if you're unlucky and your eyelashes can't really take it, or if you have a lash artist which doesn't know how to be gentle with your eyelashes, you may end up with traction alopecia of your eyelashes where they don't grow back. There are so many people who have really, really heavy damage to their natural eyelashes and will have to wear fake eyelashes for the rest of their life due to loss of their natural eyelashes. Be very careful with this beauty treatment. Some of the damage is permanent, and honestly, on most people, it doesn't look very good. And I hate to say this, and I do not say this with judgment, but it can look incredibly cheap. Also be very conscious of your own genetics. So someone like myself who's incredibly pale will look absolutely silly with having thick black eyelashes. If you're with an absolute expert, they may even have eyelashes which are dark brown, medium brown, and I have also seen ginger eyelashes. Don't be afraid to experiment with things that will actually look natural on you. I love to see lash artists who are amazing at what they do and are able to customize it for their clients where it looks natural. 3, the fox eyebrow look. I have seen so many makeup tutorials where someone has literally shaved off the complete tail of their brow in order to draw on higher. And while this looks good on some people where genetically it could be possible that they would have this naturally higher brow, it's not super common. So on a lot of people, I find that it looks very uncanny and very unnatural. My recommendation always is to follow where your natural brow wants to go and to enjoy your own natural genetics. Now, if you haven't heard of someone called Laurie Hill, I do recommend checking out her videos. She has analyzed plastic surgery in the past and she does a lot of beauty content, and she did a great video on the foxed eye trend. So check it out if you want to know more on this subject. Number 4, extremely dark fake tans. Now this really is only for people who are very, very pale skin. So if you have naturally the ability to tan or dark skin, you don't need to know about this. This is for people who are special. I'm calling out them. I'm calling out people like me. I'm calling out people with ginger hair. I'm calling out people who are trying to achieve a fake tan, which is completely unnatural to their genetic profile. I have seen this time and time again, and it generally happens on a wedding day where someone has gone the darkest tan they've ever done, and it looks completely unnatural and they live to regret it. It is so important that you embrace your natural skin color and the range that it can go. So let's say you went on a holiday to Spain, you were out in the sun for a little bit, you got a bit of a healthy glow. That is what you would hope to achieve with a fake tan. Anything darker than that isn't actually going to accentuate your own natural beauty. So a healthy glow, and try and not do anything more. Crazy, crazy long nails. Now I know that there are cultural groups that really do enjoy having long nails. However, I think if you are outside these cultures and you are just embracing having extremely long nails just because it's a trend on social media, you might look back and think, not only was it impractical, but it didn't even really look that good on me. When it comes to nails, it's important for them to be practical because you do need to live your life. You do need to be able to put on eye cream. You do need to be able to tap on your phone. Now, I have been an offender in the past. I loved having extremely long nails and I was almost known for it for a while. However, I look back and I think that was so incredibly impractical. These days I try and go from 2 millimeters to about 5 millimeters of length past my finger. That is the level of practicality that I can enjoy and still use my hands and bake bread, or I don't bake bread, but do anything that doesn't make your fingernails feel really gross. Number 6, cutting an extremely short bob. Trust me, you have no idea what you were getting into because I've done this. I've gone too short with a bob before, and you want to know what that's like to grow out? Not great, not fun, trust me. And everyone's super inspired by these incredibly short bobs because of the White Lotus Series 3, where this beautiful actress, I've forgotten her name, but I'll put her over here somewhere. She looks fantastic because she has the face for it. She has a pixie face. Very, very short pixie haircuts, very, very short bobs are for these pixie faces, and they really, really suit them. On someone with more of a masculine face, like myself, I looked terrible. I looked awful. It did not suit me, and it worked. Oh, it was 3 years of my life trying to grow that out. I'm trying to save you right now. Please don't do that to yourself. If you want to get a bob, get a long bob. Cutting it shorter is not necessarily going to solve all your problems. It's not necessarily going to make it look better, and you may feel like Lord Farquaad. Okay, that's all. Number 7, brow lamination. These spiky brows, my goodness, they got out of control, didn't they? That was about 2 years ago when the brows were like, oh, I just got a brow lamination. I can tell. Your brows look like they've been electrocuted. So that's something that we want to be careful of. Brows that go completely up like this, it was a trend, it was a look, but they did not look the best. There are some people who do have brows that go more upwards, that are more fluffy, but on a lot of people this doesn't look good. And you know what? That trend was at the height of the thick eyebrow trend. And you know what's come around now? Thin brows, the brows of the 90s. And I'm not a fan of that either. I think you should go to a brow artist that understands your face, that understands the brows that you are able to grow, and make the most of them. Do not go to someone who specializes in the thickest brows in the world that wants to laminate someone's brows up to their forehead. Don't go to someone who wants to pluck all of them away. You will regret both of those. Natural brows, please. Number 8, lip filler. I'm a victim of this because I have had my lips botched and I just kept on putting filler in them, and by my wedding day I had about 3.5 mils in my lips and a lot of it had migrated, and when I ate it looked so funny that my husband has actually sent me videos of me eating with 3.5 mils in my lips. I had duck lips, and it took a couple of injectors to say your lips have migrated and you really need to dissolve them. And I couldn't see it. And there are so many people who have overdone lip filler and they cannot see it. And look, you can become one of my clients. I'm very happy to tell you if I think you've overdone your lip filler. Or you can go to a very, very well-respected cosmetic nurse or doctor who will hopefully tell you if you have over-injected. Some people, like me, I don't really metabolize filler. It just stays there. It just migrates. So be very, very careful with lip filler. There used to be studies that would say that, oh, your lip filler is going to dissolve within 6 to 12 months and it will be gone and you're going to need a top up. That is old news, baby. There are MRIs these days which are showing the filler and how it migrates through the face. It just stays there. You might metabolize a little bit of it. I retained most of it and it looked awful. So please, go to someone self-respecting, and I know it costs money to get it dissolved. I put off getting my lips dissolved for a really, really long time because of the amount it costs to get them dissolved. But now I just wish I did it earlier. Looking back at those photos where I had duck lips, that, my friends, that is embarrassing. Number 9, tattooed freckles. Now, I grew up with freckles. I had so many freckles that there was more freckle than what there was skin without freckles. And I thought it was a genius idea to stay out in the sun even more, because if I stayed out in the sun even more, then maybe all of the holes where there wasn't a freckle would fill up and I would just have a really tanned face. I tried that, I'm not even kidding. And it took me moving to England and not being in the sun for 2 years to lose my freckles. I looked up everything. I looked up pills, freckle fading pills, I put lemon juice on my face. Now I just stay out of the sun and they're gone. And I just can't believe that people are actually wanting to have tattoos freckled on their face. Now, freckles are character building and they look beautiful, and I personally do love the unique smattering of melanin coming to the surface on people who naturally develop freckles. I don't think that you should get them tattooed on your face if you don't naturally have them, because you know what? Freckles on people who naturally get them fade. Ones that tattoo on you will not fade in the same way they faded on me. So if you one day want to get rid of those freckles, that's laser. And you know what? You actually can do laser to get rid of natural freckles, but it's a different type of laser because you've tattooed it on you. So be careful of that. It's much better to do it with a brow pencil. There are so many makeup solutions these days where you can spray freckles onto your face and they look fantastic. So look into those solutions first instead of paying money to have them tattooed on your face, because trust me, I have seen it go wrong. I have seen very, very bad tattooing jobs for freckles, and that is an expensive and costly and painful and unnecessary removal process. Number 10, cosmetic tattooing brows, lips, and eyes. I personally am a victim of cosmetic tattooing, and I actually have permanent scarring and gaps in my own eyebrows from trying the microbladed cosmetic tattooing and also from the cosmetic tattooing device. And it's unfortunate. I'm never going to grow back the hair in those places. They're completely scarred, and for the rest of my life, I will have to put in my eyebrows every single day. So I don't recommend cosmetic tattooing for everyone, and I think that there is a lot of cowboys in the industry who do a 3-day course and then start slicing in people's eyebrows. I once had a flatmate where the eyebrow artist actually said, oh, your eyebrows should actually be up this way. And so what they did is they said, I would recommend that you shave off this part of your brow for the rest of your life. So this woman had an eyebrow that was up here and her brow was here. And so for the rest of her life, she would be plucking or shaving that brow off, with a permanent one much, much higher. So, cosmetic tattooing, there's loads of cowboys, there's loads of people who think they know what they're doing, and I've seen really bad eyeliner as well, really uneven eyeliner. The thing about cosmetic tattooing is no matter how well it's done, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to heal on you all the same way. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fade on you the same way. I had my eyebrows tattooed almost 10 years ago now, and I can say now that the cosmetic tattooing, tattoo, the dye, has completely faded, that took 10 years. So be careful. My tattoo actually faded orange. I don't have very orange hair. I'm slightly warm, and it didn't solve any problems for me. I wish I listened to my mother, who said, do not do it, you'll regret it, because I did. The alternative, I know, is not what you want because you want to wake up with perfect eyebrows. The alternative is putting makeup in your brows or going to a really good brow artist who's able to dye your eyebrows for you. Those tinting jobs that they can do sometimes are life-changing. So instead of doing something permanent, which you may live to regret, putting on a little bit of makeup every day, getting your eyebrows tinted once a month is a lot better than having to laser off your eyebrows or have a saline removal done. Number 11, and I promise you I'm not trying to be mean, it's known as turkey teeth. So it's a very certain veneer look of people who have, very commonly from the UK, gone to Turkey to get veneers done, and it becomes a very bright fake set of teeth that look completely unnatural. And there are many celebrities who are also known for having very, very white, unnaturally white and perfect teeth. Now, there is actually a trend in dentistry at the moment to not correct all imperfections because veneers are being overdone, crowns are being overdone. You do really want to be careful with your teeth because once you have shaved down your teeth, they don't build themselves back up. That is a permanent modification to your body. What you want to do is talk to an incredibly reputable orthodontist, see what you can do with your natural teeth. And if they say, look, honestly, I would recommend veneers, find a dentist who is an absolute artist in creating very, very natural looking teeth. Teeth that look fake, while every single influencer seems to get them, while they look white, while we think that that's normal, it's not normal, it doesn't look natural. I think many people will live to regret ruining their natural teeth. If you do want whiter teeth, there is so much that you're able to do at home. Now, I don't have perfectly white teeth, but I do have an at-home whitening toothpaste and I have an at-home whitening kit. And when I use it religiously, my teeth do get a little bit more sensitive and they do go a little bit whiter. The most important thing with teeth is that you have a functioning bite, that they are healthy, that they don't have loads of cavities in them, and yes, look after them because you only get one adult set. And they don't grow back when you screw with them, so be good to your teeth. Number 12, loads and loads of piercings. Now, how can you tell an ex-emo? Look for the snake bite holes. There are so many ex-emo, so many ex-scene kids, including myself, who got piercings which they have since taken out and lived to regret. However, there is still an ongoing trend of getting loads and loads of piercings in your ear, tragus piercings, upper ear piercings, all of these really weird and wacky piercings, seconds and thirds. I think it looks really cute until you realize that you don't want to wear 15 piercings in your ear every day and then you have loads and loads of empty holes. So I would say don't do unnecessary piercings. You can actually, if you want to go to a festival and have a bit of an ear party on, you can get stick-on sparkles, which look fantastic. You can get fake piercings that you can just put on if you want. You can get earrings that kind of clip on. So have fun with non-permanent versions because trust me, when you have loads of piercings in your ear, as I have done, I've had my top 2 done here, I still have the keloid scarring from where they didn't heal properly. So you're never guaranteed a properly healed piercing. I've been really lucky with some of my piercings and incredibly unlucky with other ones which have never healed. In fact, my ears, to this day, those piercings are 20 years old. Occasionally they still get aggravated. Don't do it if you don't need to, and just keep to the 2 right here. Trust me, it will make your life a lot easier. Number 13. Permanent hair extensions. Now you might think, Alex, permanent hair extensions, they're not actually permanent because you can have them taken out by the hairdresser. Yes, that's true. You can go to the hairdresser every 6 to 8 weeks and have them move the extension right back up in your hair again. And over time you might notice something. You might notice that every single time they remove and put your extensions back in that you have less and less hair. And then over time you might notice a couple of bald patches. And that, my friends, is called traction alopecia. Traction alopecia is unfortunately really, really common in people who have had even clip-in extensions, but especially those kind of nano extensions and bead extensions and tape-in extensions that people do. There is so much hair loss and so much traction alopecia, it is not worth it. My favorite extension that you can wear is a halo. I recommend halos to my clients. Why? Because you can remove them at nighttime and they don't actually put pressure on your very delicate and very important hair. So please look into a halo. It is a very skinny plastic band that goes on the top of your hair, and then the halo is literally a halo that sits under half of your hair, and then it goes around the sides, and it is a magnificent, highly invisible, highly safe hair extension that does not damage your hair permanently. So try it out. Last but not least, permanent body surgery. BBLs were incredibly common and popular 5 years ago, and curves were all of the rage, and I know people who had multiple BBLs, and you know what the trend is now? The bodies of the 90s. And I don't need to say what people are taking in order to look a certain way these days, but have you noticed that all of the celebrities have all of a sudden become really little? That's because body trends are constantly happening, and if you do something permanent to your body, which actually can be deathly, it's an incredibly dangerous surgery. Not only may you live to regret doing it because you now need to reverse it with another surgery, it may actually cause serious complications that lead to you being no more. So think extremely hard before you get a procedure done which is ultimately based on a trend. And ultimately the BBL trend is based on the favored Kardashian body of the time. And it's always going to be very trendy to be curvy as a woman, don't get me wrong, and curves are absolutely beautiful, but be very careful with going overboard with a surgery for a trend, because trends never last, and they really never last more than 5 years. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope I haven't offended you, but if I have, maybe you needed a good talking to. I'm always here as a personal stylist to give you a second opinion, and I do encourage you to know the difference between a beauty trait and a beauty trend, because every single decade the two get intertwined and no one knows the difference. So if you think that I have missed out on any beauty trends, feel free to put them in the comments, but remember to be kind. There are many 8-year-olds today who had perms in the 80s and have enjoyed them and worn them and got them refreshed every 3 months since. So some of these beauty trends will be lifelong. And if one of these beauty trends makes you happy, feel free to disagree with me and be happy and do the complete opposite of what I say. I will see you in my next one. Bye. Oh, and for everyone who has said, Alex, you need to improve your posture. Did I do any better this video? I tried. Look, posture is something that I'm personally working on, so if you have any tips to improve your posture, let me know.